Well, hello and welcome to Coffee with the Worship Pastor. This time we have a new guest on. His name is Anthony Stair. He is the worship leader at Wabash Church in Auburn. Hello, Anthony.
Hello, everybody.
Anthony, our goal today is just to get to know you a little bit better, and we want to speak to your expertise, which is worship. And I know that our audience has a lot of questions about how that works, and I thought we'd have you on to answer some of those questions. You ready?
Yeah, let's go for it.
All right. Well, my first question actually isn't about worship, but it is about something that you are an expert at, and that's coffee. Now, it wouldn't be coffee with the pastor if we didn't talk about it a little bit. So tell us what's in your cup this morning.
Well, today I am drinking some Delano's Dark Roast. Delano's a great medium-sized roaster in Sumner, Washington. I actually learned how to be a barista there. It was my first training was there. So it's near and dear to my heart.
Did you get to meet Delano himself?
No, they keep him behind closed doors. Never met Delano.
You gotta get pretty high in the company in the org chart for that, huh?
Yeah, probably some big Italian smoking a cigar or something.
Mafia.
Yeah.
Well, in my cup, actually, I don't want to talk about my coffee. I just want to talk about my cup because I got tired of my coffee getting cold and having to microwave it. So I just went to Target and bought an insulated cup, and it comes with a lid.
Oh, those are amazing.
So now I don't have to run to the microwave every 5 minutes. How cool is that?
But I can't help but notice you still have the sticker on there. Is that a cosmetic choice? Or?
They're sponsoring this. No, I just bought it, and it's only the first time I've used it. So.
Oh, okay.
Well, let's get into our topic. I've always wondered this. I actually don't even know the answer, but I just want to ask you a question that I've been wondering. Is what's your process for choosing songs for Sunday mornings that we sing? Tell us the different factors that you consider.
Yeah, so I take the names of songs and I cut them up on a little piece of paper and I put them in a hat and I just smoosh them around and then I grab them out and I read them. No, it's way more complicated than that. What I do is I've created a kind of a master set list that has about 40 songs on it, not including hymns, so kind of more modern praise songs. And I will go through that list each week, or if I'm planning, a month at a time, then I will take a look at when was the last time I did this song. Are the songs in similar keys where they'll sound good together, transitioning from one to the other? Is there some sort of theme that maybe the service is about, and I'm looking for that element? And then what I'll do is eventually phase songs out. So if there's a new song that comes in that's really, I think will fit the congregation really well, then I will take out one of the older ones that doesn't work as well. I find that songs kind of have a shelf life. They start really strong and then eventually they kind of phase out. And it's just kind of the way it is, and that's okay. They're still good songs. They just don't speak to the congregation the same way anymore.
Yeah, kind of like the pop charts or the radio. Those songs don't hold my interest forever.
Yeah, exactly. And I will. I don't want to do a song too much as well. So I usually try to stick with doing a song once a month, no more than that. And unless it's a new song, then I want everyone to learn it. And so I will do it, repeat it a few times in a month before it goes to the once a month kind of process.
So when you're trying to figure out if it's time to retire a song, are you watching the audience to see, are they really singing this? Is this engaging them? Or do you take that into consideration?
Yeah, definitely. I'm kind of looking out and seeing what is going on in their minds as we're doing this song, and it, it happens over time. You'll see it, and then also myself going like, this isn't. I'm not feeling passionate about this song. I'm seeing that people around me aren't. We're just all going through the motions. Maybe it's time to cut this. And usually I'll feel that before the congregation does, because I've done the song.
Yeah, you've practiced it.
Yeah. So I usually go to the point where I'm sick of it, and then I go a little bit further, and then that's usually the sweet spot.
Yeah, I got to tell you, I do appreciate the variety and the change. Although it's not frequent change, it's enough to keep our interest. And I guess I feel it too. Not only am I going through the motions on some mornings, so is the audience. And I guess I was always wondering if you noticed, or if you're just in a zone, like this is your favorite song and you're just plowing through, like you don't care what the audience thinks. But it sounds like you are trying to lead us to a certain place.
Yeah, and there's different trains of thought on how to lead worship. Some people think you should just be lost in the moment in worship and not paying attention to anyone else. But I really do take it as a responsibility of how can I try to facilitate that for other people.
Mm-hmm.
And so there will be times where I am just lost in the moment. And then there's also times where I'm looking at going, hey, am I doing a good job here? Am I being effective in what I'm trying to do and help the congregation, or do I need to change something?
Yeah.
And so we have conversations as a worship team about that on a regular basis of how can we help the congregation more and things like that.
Yeah. So I think song choice is a big factor for whether people are engaged. But just speaking for myself, another big factor is, are the people on stage engaged with this? Because if they're worshiping hard for Jesus, that really draws me in. And if you guys look disinterested, then that has an effect on me as well. So I guess I would just encourage you to not only think about us, but do think about, do I like this song? Because I think the more you like it, the more we're going to like it as well.
Yeah. Definitely.
Well, that leads into a different question. So are the songs that we play on Sundays your favorites? Like, are those top 40 songs like your 40 favorites and you're just choosing from your favorites?
No, definitely not. Some of them are. I mean, definitely some of them are, but not all of them. Some songs stay because the congregation receives them really well. I still like them. There's no songs that I hate on there, but it's that balance of serving the congregation and also enjoying it myself.
Well, I don't want to get you naming songs that you don't like that others might love, but I am wondering, are there any songs on that roster that you would have thought, oh, that one I would have thought would have been retired a long time ago, but the congregation just loves it. They can't get enough of it. They're always requesting it. We got to keep it, because every time we sing this song, they're getting down and just worshiping hard for Jesus.
Yeah, I'm going to have to pull up a song list here to see. That's a tough one. Yeah. Yeah, there hasn't been one in a while like that. I think it had been retired eventually, and I was excited for it to be retired. But actually, I know of one song in the past that wasn't at Wabash, but the song "Blessed Be Your Name,"
Mm-hmm.
I thought was a great song, and then I got tired of it. But people kept wanting to do it, and I eventually said, "No more. I'm not going to do this song, because in me, it's like I can't lead people in that song because I'm just so tired of it."
And youth group, it's Oceans. I think it came out in 2012, 2013. And even today, they're like, when are we going to play Oceans again? I'm like, guys, that song's 7 years old. Like, it's half a lifetime ago for you. And they just keep wanting it. And then for my own kids, every time we play My Lighthouse, they're dancing, they're singing it. It's one of the only songs that really catches their attention. And I'm just thinking, why that one? Is it because it has a beat? Is it because they're singing about a lighthouse and that's a concrete thing for them? I don't know, but that one's always popular with my kids. Well, Anthony, on this topic, we talked about song requests. Like, people have songs they like and songs they don't like, but how often do they come to you specifically with a request? Like, Anthony, it'd be really great if you played this one, or have you ever heard that, or here's my mixtape, listen to this. Like how much pressure do you feel to do the songs that people are requesting? And do you like getting song requests, or is that sort of an intrusion?
Yeah, for me, song requests are kind of a mixed bag at times, and I don't get inundated with song requests. It probably once or twice a month, someone will come up to me and say, "Hey, here's a song I thought of." The ones that are my favorite are when they're like, "How come we don't do these songs anymore?" And trying to bring back old songs that have been retired. But for the most part, I mean, I want people to like me. And so when someone requests a song, I then feel obligated to, make it work. And it doesn't always work. And so then I kind of feel awkward and that I wasn't able to make that happen for them. So it does kind of make me feel awkward when I get song requests. But on the other hand, I've gotten them so many times over the years that you're just kind of, so I have the response of, "Hey, thanks for the song request. It sounds like a great song. I just know I can't guarantee anything." And most people take that pretty well, and they understand that. But on the other hand, I have had times where someone requested a song that I'd never heard before, and I went to listen to it, and it became one of my favorite songs. So,
What was that song?
Oh, man.
Sorry, I didn't mean to
can't
put you on
remember.
the spot there.
No, it was, so it was for the Lenten devotional series that we were doing. I was working with Carol Perlott. I think she had said, "Hey, have you heard this song?" And I had listened to that, and I was like, "Oh man, this is awesome." And if it wasn't Carol Perlott, I'm sorry for whoever I forgot. But anyway, so yeah, Yet Not I, But Christ in Me became one of my new favorite songs recently. And I had never heard it until someone suggested it to me. So on that hand, as long as people are not offended if I don't do this song they requested, then I'm totally fine with them.
Well, my kids told me to request the VBS songs from the last 2 summers. If you could just play those a few times, they'd really appreciate it.
Those are hard to sing for someone who doesn't want to do hand motions.
Yeah, how often do people request songs that are just just out of left field? Maybe there was a full band that performed it, or some Christian rock band. It's not worshipful. Or how many of these songs are just simply unplayable?
You can always adapt a song to be playable, but sometimes you do lose kind of the heart of the song in that process. A lot of times what it ends up being is either it's not in my vocal range, and so it's not something that I can personally lead well. And so that makes it difficult. I mean, I will pass those off to other people at times, but since I'm up there majority of the time, I try to pick songs that I can sing. And then the other one that's a big one is songs that were, maybe they got a Christian message and they're on, the radio, and it's a Christian song, but it does not fit a congregational singing style at all, either in singability or in the words. And so in that case, yeah, it's a great song, but it just won't fit in a church setting.
Totally. So you mentioned that one of your favorite songs right now is "Yet Not I, But Through Christ in Me." Is that right?
That's pretty close. Yet Not I, but yeah, Through Christ in Me. Yeah, that's it.
What else are you listening to right now? What's your favorite stuff in 2020?
Yeah, so some of my favorite stuff, I mean, since I'm listening to a lot of music that I'm looking for church specifically, that song and the band that made it, City of Light, they've got a lot of great stuff that is fresh and new, but also has a lot of good context in there. I really love the song. What's it called? I just blanked on it.
Who plays it? What band?
Pat Barrett. We do it at church. Why can't Build My Life? That's it. I knew it was a B. I really like that song. It's it's got a lot of like the verses are very simple. It's easy to sing, but it's got some really great messages of God being holy, and there's no one like him, and he's worthy of praise. And it also shows that God's heart is for people, and we're supposed to be like him in that. So it's one calling us to worship, and it's calling us to serve our neighbor, and I think that's really cool.
So I'm hearing you say
a really powerful musicality to it, which is a big one for me.
Yeah, I heard you say that lyrics are a really big factor for you. I wanted you to speak more to that.
Yeah, so that's a big one in the current worship wars of today. Is if a song is it just fluff, or is there real substance to it? And I think there's room for both, as long as our songs aren't teaching just outright heresy. I think on one hand, we can have songs that have incredibly rich theological depth to them, and that's what a lot of people say. We should only sing hymns because they have rich theological depth, and new songs don't. While that's partially true, there's hymns that have rich theological depth, and there's hymns that don't.
Right.
Amazing Grace, one of the most popular hymns of all time, has a very simple message, but we love it because that message is resoundingly true. So the same thing with modern day songs. And I look at it too of, I could give them the whole Bible in a Sunday, which is great. But if they walk away from this church service and they're humming the tune of a song that sticks in their head, and it's something that speaks to them that's from God in that moment, but it's just one little thing, then that's awesome. Like, one of my favorite songs that has stayed around, even though it, outlasted some other songs, is Great Are You, Lord. I love that song. It's your breath in our lungs, so we pour out our praise. And that's a pretty repetitive thing in there, but it's so powerful. And if I walk out of church with the concept of, it's God that gave me this, and I'm giving it back, whatever that is, man, that's powerful. And that could carry me the whole week.
And it's so important
for those songs that are, yeah, go for it.
I was just going to say, it's so important because most of us learn our theology through the songs before we even learn it through the Bible. Just thinking about me, I didn't crack open a Bible till well into my faith, but I listened to Christian music even before I was a Christian. And that's probably true for most people. And it really does color the way we even read the Bible and figure out what our beliefs are. So it is important to pay attention to that and give them good stuff. But yeah, at the same time, if all you're reading is a creed and putting it to a tune, that's not super singable or memorable. And how do we take this rich theology that we have but make it memorable? And I think that's what you're doing.
Yeah, there's room for both types of songs, and if we use both of them as tools, then we have the best of both worlds.
Anthony, you touched on worship wars. Will you tell us what that means?
Yeah, so if you look at the history of the church, they've had a term called worship wars, and different generations were marked by different conflicts that happened, whether it was, can you use the piano in worship? Can you use instruments at all? Or is it only supposed to be a cappella? Can you use drums and electric guitar? Or are those, tools of the devil in bad rock and roll music or something like that? You use hymns versus praise songs. So there's been, kind of a clashing of styles. And unfortunately, people make it more than a clash of style. They try to use some sort of theological principle to defend their style and then tear down the other style. And so, unfortunately, that's the case. Every generation encounters that as the styles change over time, and
Yeah, it's really unfortunate when a church becomes a people with preferences, and when we just come to assert our preference. And I think that what I hear you doing is you're trying to think about all these factors, and my preference is way down the list on those factors, right? And so, for our audience, I would really encourage them to just consider all the effort and all the teaching and all the pastoring that Anthony and the worship team are trying to do when they pick these songs, and put aside our preferences, because it's really not about me or not about any one of us in that room. And it's just about praising Jesus. And song choice helps, and they're doing their best to help us to help foster that. But boy, if I really come to assert my preference, the church can die pretty quickly when everyone tries to do that.
Yeah, we worked with a consultant a few years back, and his phrase that he used was engage purpose over preference.
Totally.
And so that was something that really stuck with me, of what's our purpose and what we're doing, and is that our focus? And so you heard me say that I'm not necessarily always catering to my preference either. And so trying to steer us towards that purpose of worshiping for everyone that's there. Both,
as we wrap this up, Anthony, in 1 or 2 sentences, just tell us the purpose. What are we here for?
Well, the purpose is to worship God, and in the way that we can best. And so as we're looking at a congregation, we're worshiping together collectively. It's not just us, it's our neighbor as well. So how are we serving our neighbor as we're serving God? The greatest commandment is to love the Lord our God with all of our heart, mind, soul, and strength. And the second is to love our neighbor as ourselves. And so that happens in church worship together. Totally.
I agree with that. And I actually think we have a pretty good congregation as churches go, as far as being flexible. And so, I don't mean to beat anyone up, but just a reminder of how much effort and how much purpose and planning you put into this. And we're all grateful for that, especially where you're reading us and saying, are we worshiping? And let's change something to get us worshiping. And that's just another thing that I appreciate. And I think I speak on behalf of a lot of people. And I also speak on behalf of a lot of people who told me that they liked your sermon the other day.
Well, thank you.
So I'll pass that along for them. And we're going to wrap this up. And I'll just tell our audience, if you guys have any questions, let us know in the comments. If you like this, also let us know. And we hope you're doing well. We love you, and we're praying for you always. And God bless you. Take care, okay?
Thank you, guys.